They say every hood got a night when everything changes. But in Compton, our night came with fire. I'm Trey-A, born and raised on Rosecrans. And the night the Crips brought hell to my block was the same night I learned the streets don't love nobody. I remember stepping out the liquor store, heat still rising off the concrete, the smell of summer and gunpowder mixed together like bad memories. Then I saw them. 3 blue Chargers creeping slow down Wilmington. Headlights off, windows blacked, like sharks moving through smoke. My boy Reggie whispered, "Hey Trey, that's Ice's crew." Ice, the coldest Crip in the city, a dude who'd put his own OG in the dirt just to make a point. And tonight, he had a point to make. First shot cracked the block open like thunder. Windows blew out, car alarm screamed, and the whole street lit up like somebody dropped a match in gasoline. When the smoke settled, one thing was clear. This wasn't a drive-by. This was a declaration. The Crips wasn't sending a warning. They were starting a war. And me, I was standing dead in the middle of it. The smoke from that first shot still hung in the air like a curse. Me and Reggie hit the ground, gravel digging in our elbows, hearts beating loud enough to hear without a stethoscope.
Trey, come on, bro, move!
I kicked around a trash bin. Ice's crew had hopped out the Chargers, sprading across the street like wolves. Blue rags, long rifles, no masks. They wanted everybody to see who did it, and to make sure nobody forgot. We sprinted behind the liquor store, slipping past the dumpsters, the alley reeking of old beer and something dead. The night felt too quiet back there, like the shadows were holding their breath. That's when I saw him. Lil Tone, one of our young homies, maybe 16, laid out behind the crates, holding his stomach, blood leaking through his red tee.
Trey, they got Tone, bro.
I dropped to my knees. "Tone, look at me, lil homie, you hear me?" Tone coughed, eyes glassy. "Trey, they was looking for you." That sentence hit harder than the gunfire. My chest tightened. Ice wasn't just doing a sweep, he came hunting.
Reggie grabbed my shoulder. "Trey, we gotta go! They circling the block!"
Tone's hand slipped from my wrist, and I swear, Slim, the alley got colder. I stood up slow, angry, hurt. Heart boiling like a pot left too long on the stove. That was the moment everything inside me snapped. The moment Trey-A died, and something colder took his place. We cut through the alley and came out on Palmer Street, the part of Compton where streetlights flicker like they scared to stay on. Behind us, Ice's crew moved block to block, sweeping everything like soldiers on a mission. "Trey, they not letting this go, bro. This ain't no message. This is the manhunt." I knew he was right. Ice didn't send 3 Chargers for a warning. He came for a body. My body. We ducked behind a parked Impala as one of the Chargers rolled down the street slow. You could feel the tension through the asphalt. "Hey, yo, spread out. Trey-A's somewhere close." Ice's voice, calm, cold, like he was ordering food, not death. Reggie whispered, "We can hit the wash, losing by the bridge." I shook my head. "Nah, if we run, they'll chase us all night and come back tomorrow." Reggie stared at me like he already knew what I was thinking. "Trey, don't even say it." I lifted my hoodie sleeve, revealing the small .38 I kept tucked for nights exactly like this. "Ice wanna hunt? Bet, let's make him bleed for it." Reggie exhaled sharp. "Bruh, it's you they want, not the hood." But that was the problem. Once they take out the lion, the whole pride gets eaten. I wouldn't let my block go out like that. The Chargers stopped. Doors opened. Blue rags hit the pavement. I tightened my grip on the .38. Tonight wasn't about survival anymore. Tonight was about war. The Charger rolled to a slow stop right in front of Mrs. Hawkins' old house. Boarded windows, dead lawn, porch lights swinging like it knew trouble was coming. "Trey, this the last chance to dip." I didn't answer. Couldn't.
My blood was too loud in my ears. 3 Crips stepped out the charger, rifles hanging like extensions of their arms, blue rags tucked at the waist. Ice wasn't with this group, which meant he was close, real close. One of them, tall one with braids, scanned the street like he smelled fear. "Hey, he out here. I feel it." Reggie leaned in. We hit the tall one first. He the eyes. I nodded. My .38 felt heavy, but loyal in my hand. I slid out from behind the Impala, moving low, letting the shadows eat most of my outline. 1, 2, 3. My shot cracked the night open. The tall one dropped instantly, his rifle clattering on the sidewalk. The other 2 sprang behind the charger, firing wild. Bullets pinged off mailboxes and trash cans, sparks cutting through the dark like angry fireflies. Reggie dove behind the fence, yelling, "Trey, move! They flanking!" I rolled behind a set of broken lawn chairs as bullets tore the wood apart. This wasn't survival anymore. This was chess, and I made the first move. But the problem with chess is that the king is never far from the board. A new voice cut through the chaos. "Trey-A, you should have stayed hid." Ice had stepped onto the block.
Ice stepped out the shadows like he'd been carved from the night itself. Blue hoodie, gold chain, eyes dead like nothing in the world moved him anymore. "You made a mistake, little homie." I kept low behind the lawn chairs, breathing slow, watching the 2 shooters reposition behind the charger. Ice didn't even look at his fallen man. That told me everything. He wasn't here for body count. He was here for me. Reggie yelled from across the yard, "Trey, he trying to trap you, bro. Don't peek." Ice smirked. "Reggie, you still running behind him like a puppy? Thought you'd know better." That line cut deeper than any bullet. Ice was playing mental games, trying to break the bond before he broke the bodies. Ice walked closer, boots crunching grass, voice low like a sermon from hell. "Trey-A, your name been ringing for months. You mess with my money, talk slick to my lil homies, and you think there ain't a price?" I raised the .38 slow. "Funny, I could say the same to you." Ice nodded, impressed. For the first time, he looked human, like he respected the fight. Then he snapped his fingers. The 2 shooters unloaded everything they had, bullets ripping through the porch, splintering the walls, dust raining down like the building was collapsing. I dove through the broken side gate, rolling on the concrete as bullets chased my shadow. Reggie met me on the other side, panting. "Bro, they got us boxed in on both ends!" And then we heard it. More chargers. More blue rags. More heat. Ice wasn't hunting anymore. Ice brought the whole army. Chargers boxed the whole street like a SWAT trap. Blue headlights cutting through the smoke, engines growling low and hungry. Me and Reggie pressed against the cracked concrete wall behind the house, hearts pounding in sync. "Bro, we cornered. They trying to wipe us off the map." I scanned the yard. Back gate broken, trash cans knocked over, rusted metal shed leaning to a side. One way out, one gamble. Ice's voice slid through the dark like a razor. "Trey-A, you making this harder than it gotta be. Come out, and I might let Reggie live." Ain't no way he letting anybody live. Facts. Once Ice starts a hunt, he never leaves loose ends. One of the shooters moved toward the side of the house, too close. Reggie, on my move, hit the shed. I waited, breathed shallow, fingers steady on the trigger. The shooter stepped past the fence gap. He dropped, rifle sliding across the dirt. Move! We sprinted across the yard as bullets rained behind us, smashing into the walls, ripping through trash cans. Reggie shoved open the shed door. Inside was a busted lawnmower, 2 paint cans, and a rusted manhole cover half hidden under a tarp. I yanked it open. The sewer tunnel breathed cold air up our faces. Man, you sure about this? You want to die out here? The bullets ripped the shed wall apart. I shouted, "Don't let them drop down!" Too late. We slid into the darkness, pulling the cover back just as the shed door blew open. And down there, in that cold, wet tunnel, everything changed. Trey-A wasn't running anymore. Trey-A was plotting. The sewer tunnel was cold enough to bite through my hoodie. Water dripped from the ceiling like the place was crying for us. Me and Reggie waded through ankle-deep filth, flashlights long dead. Only the faint glow from the street grates guiding our steps. Bro, this felt like some horror movie mess. He wasn't wrong. Every echo sounded like footsteps behind us. We reached a wider chamber, graffiti on the walls, old tags from sets that didn't even exist anymore. I pressed my hand against the cold concrete. Ice think he's smart. He think coming hard gonna break me. Reggie shook his head. He came with an army, Trey. That ain't smart. That's obsession. I stared at the ceiling grate above us. Blue headlights from the Chargers passing over it like sharks circling. Ice wasn't giving up. But he made one mistake. He pushed me underground into a place he couldn't follow. Tripping. Reggie spun. Yo, did you hear that? I tightened my grip on the .38. Shadows moved deeper in the tunnel. Slow. Crawling. Stay close. We stepped forward. The smell got worse, like old blood mixed with swamp. Then we saw him. Smalls, a Crip who used to run with one of Ice's lieutenants. Slumped against the wall, bleeding out, blue rag still in his hand. He whispered, barely alive. Trey-A, Ice ain't stopping till you dead, blood. He down here too. He coming through the south tunnel. His head dropped. Reggie sucked in air. Bro, they in the tunnels? I nodded slow. Ice wasn't just hunting. Ice was adapting. Footsteps echoed from the darkness. More than one pair. Reggie whispered, Trey, they close. I raised the .38, eyes locked forward. Good. Now they die with no exit. The tunnel felt tighter, like the walls themselves were listening. Reggie stayed glued to my shoulder, breath shaky, eyes wide. Trey, how many you think coming? I didn't flinch, enough to regret it. Chains rattled far. The footsteps grew clearer, splashing through the filthy water, moving in formation. Ice had soldiers down here, trained, focused, moving like shadows with guns. We reached a fork in the tunnel. Left path pitch black, right path glowing faintly from a broken maintenance light flickering like a dying heartbeat. Which way? I pointed to the dark. Left. They'll expect light. We give them death instead. We moved silently, hugging the wall, the stench turning thicker like poison. Then Reggie tapped my arm hard. Bro, look! My eyes adjusted. Bodies. 2 Crips, already down, bullet holes clean through the head, blue rags soaked black with blood. Someone else had been hunting down here, someone faster than Ice's crew. Who the hell killed them? I crouched, touching the wet concrete near the bodies. Fresh footprints, big ones, not Crip boots, steel-toe construction soles. Ice ain't the only problem we got.
Before Reggie could respond, bullets ripped down the main tunnel, sparks jumping off the walls. Ice's men were close now, real close. "Flush him out! South tunnel! Move!" Ice's voice echoed like thunder. Reggie panicked. Trey, they trying to box us again!" I lifted the 38, eyes cold in the dark. "Not this time. Tonight, we box them." I stepped towards the sound of gunfire, not away from it. War had followed us underground, and I was ready to answer it.
The tunnel got quieter the deeper we pushed. Too quiet. No footsteps behind us, no Crips splashing through the water. Just a cold, heavy silence that felt like it had weight. Reggie whispered,
"Bro, why they stop chasing?"
I didn't answer. My eyes stayed locked forward. Then we heard it. A metal door banging open somewhere up ahead. Slow, echoing, like somebody kicking the gates of hell off the hinges. We rounded a bend and froze. More bodies. 3 Crips this time. Faces twisted, guns still in their hands. Blue rags soaked black. All laid out the same way. Executed. Clean shots. No struggle. Reggie's voice trembled. "Trey, this wasn't you. This wasn't Ice. So who?" A shadow moved across the far wall. Huge, heavy footsteps splashing through the dark. I raised the 38 slow. The figure stepped into the faint light leaking from a maintenance vent. Big, broad shoulders, steel-toe boots, face hidden under a construction mask. Blood spattered across a dirty work jacket. Not Crip, not blood. Something else. "Ayo, who are you?" The figure didn't speak, didn't slow, didn't aim a gun. He just lifted an industrial-grade sledgehammer, the kind used to break concrete. Reggie stumbled back. Trey! That ain't no gangbanger!" The masked giant pointed the hammer toward us, then toward the south tunnel, where Ice's crew was closing in. A warning, or an invitation. I tightened my jaw. "Reggie, I ain't in a gang war no more. We in a damn cage with a monster." And Ice was walking straight toward him.
The masked giant didn't blink, didn't flinch, didn't talk. He just tilted his head like he was studying us, deciding whether we were prey or a distraction. Reggie whispered, "Trey, that ain't human." The giant dragged the sledgehammer through the water. Then he turned toward the south tunnel, the same direction Ice's soldiers were approaching from. Blue rags, flashlights, rifles raised. Ice's voice boomed through the darkness. "Y'all found him yet? Move up!" The giant stepped into the center of the tunnel, like he wanted them to come. I grabbed Reggie's sleeve. "Back up, slow, don't make no noise." But we didn't move fast enough. A Crip soldier spotted the giant silhouette. "What the? Ice, something big down here!" Then bullets tore through the tunnel. The giant didn't dodge, didn't hide, didn't run. He charged. The sledgehammer came down like a meteor, hitting the first Crip with a sound that didn't even sound human. Screams echoed. Chaos erupted as Ice's soldiers unloaded on him, bullets hitting flesh, ricocheting off the tunnel walls. The giant swung again. Another soldier dropped. Reggie panicked. "Trey, we got to go. He killing everybody." Ice yelled from behind the chaos. "Fall back! Fall back!" But the giant was unstoppable. He plowed through Ice's line like he'd been waiting his whole life for this. I pulled Reggie deeper into the side tunnel. "Move. While they fight him, we slip by." As we ran, the tunnel shook with violence. The Crips, the monster, gunfire, metal, screaming, a war within a war. And as we slipped deeper into the dark, one truth hit me harder than the gunshots. Ice wasn't the apex predator in these tunnels. We were all just prey.
Me and Reggie sprinted deeper into the tunnels, breaths ragged, water splashing loud as thunder in the cramped dark. Behind us, the screams and gunfire blended into something unholy, like the tunnels had turned into a graveyard swallowing men alive. Reggie gasped, "Trey, is anybody making it out of there?" I didn't answer. Truth was, I didn't know. Didn't want to know. The sound echoed, the monster taking down another one. Or maybe Ice himself. We turned a corner and saw a ladder leading up to a street grate above. Small, rusty, but hope is hope. "Go, I'll cover you." Reggie shook his head. "Bro, I ain't leaving. Go." He climbed. I turned back toward the dark, lifting the .38, ready to face whatever came around that corner. And then he emerged. The giant, limping now, hammer cracked, chest rising slow, but still alive, still hungry. I raised a gun, but he didn't charge. He stopped, stared at me, then dropped the hammer into the water. Like he chose to spare me. A voice echoed from behind him, weak but recognizable. Ice. "Trey, you ain't run far enough." I saw him crawling, bleeding out, dragging a pistol. The giant looked at Ice, then at me, and stepped aside. A choice. Reggie yelled from above, "Trey, come on!" I stared at Ice, at the man who destroyed Little Tone, hunted me, killed my homies, and brought hell to my block. Heartbeat slow and heavy, I tightened my grip. This ends here. Silence swallowed the tunnel. The giant turned, gave one slow nod, then vanished into the dark like a ghost that never belonged to our world. I climbed the ladder, pushed the grate open, and the night air hit my face. Compton was quiet, too quiet. Reggie laid his hand on my shoulder. "Trey, we made it." I looked down into the tunnel, into the darkness that tried to bury me. Yeah, but the streets ain't never gonna be the same.